One Zambia, One Nation. Welcome to ZANIS News to present it. My name is Faith Katai. The headlines. Health Professionals Council of Zambia cancels 2023 licensure exams. Over 500 pig with African swine fever slaughtered in Chongwe. Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia welcome agriculture loans. And maternal deaths in Wapula worrying. The news in detail. The Health Professionals Council of Zambia has cancelled the entire September 2023 professional licensure examinations with immediate effect following security breach. HPCZ Chief Executive Officer Faston Goma disclosed that the decision was arrived at after more investigations were carried out on claims from whistleblowers which revealed an escalation of security breach. Professor Goma explained that malpractice has the potential to instigate widespread doubt in the credibility and value of the licensure examinations. Speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka, Professor Goma reiterated the Council's commitment to enhance security controls to prevent a repeat of breach. He noted that different papers will be administered using an electronic system as a measure to stop malpractice as candidates sit for the licensure examinations. Professor Goma urged candidates not to panic as they will be updated on the new roadmap for examinations in due course.
The Training and Examination Committee did escalate the risk that we had in our examination system, and they considered the breach or the breaches to our processes as extreme, and that has left us no choice but to nullify all the examination papers which were administered on Monday and Tuesday. Furthermore, the committee has advised that we actually redo the entire examination system, meaning that the practical exams, which were bound to have started this morning, have also been cancelled henceforth. So the entire exam is nullified, and we will be moving towards setting new dates for the exam to be administered to these candidates, both theory and practical. Talking about the exam paper, I think the electronic system that we are going to use this time is that electronic system which takes care of setting unique papers for candidates.
The Chinese government has announced that the chairman of one of the world's leading telecommunication company, ZTE, is expected in the country on Monday to begin the implementation process of setting up a smartphone factory in Zambia. The ZTE chairman visit follows a signed memorandum of understanding between ZTE and the Zambian government at the ZTE headquarters in the Chinese city of Shenzhen. Speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka, Chinese ambassador to Zambia, Du Shawei, said China recognizes Zambia as an important market for investment, especially in the southern African region. Ambassador Du Shawei explained that the coming of ZTE chairman will officially set the tone for the actual commencement and implementation of the smartphone factory. Meanwhile, Ambassador Du Shawei said China remains committed to helping Zambia in her development process.
Next Monday, I will have a discussion with the city CEO here in Zambia to implement the important consensus of this very important state visit. Need to have this cell phone factory here in Zambia is huge. And the government, the New Dawn government, want to have this new cell phone factory. CTE, the willingness from CTE is also very strong. They think Zambia as a land-linked country is an important market, not only its own market, but for the southern region. So made in Zambia, sold in the region, in the southern African region. That will be the goal for the future.
Still in Central Province, Minister of Energy Peter Kapala has described the construction of a 50-megawatt solar power plant in Serenje District by Ultra Green Corporation as an example of strategic cooperation between public and private sectors. Mr. Kapala said this in Serenje during the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the plant that will power 15,000 households. Details in this report.
Energy plays an important role in the socio-economic development of the country. To help meet the country's energy demand, Ultra Green Corporation is set to construct a 50-megawatt solar power station in Serenje District, which will supply power to ZESCO under a long-term power purchase agreement. The plant will feed into the national grid at Penslo substation in Serenje. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony held in Kafinda area in Serenje District, Energy Minister Peter Kapala said the construction of the plant is an example of the power of strategic collaboration between public and private sectors.
Today, as we break ground on this 50-megawatt solar PV project, we do so with unwavering belief that clean and sustainable energy is not just a goal but a driving force that will power our nation's progress for generations to come. The solar plant exemplifies the power of strategic collaboration between the public and private sectors.
ZESCO stands ready and remains resolute in facilitating private sector-driven projects such as this one. Plan to play an important role in making electricity subsector more resilient and productive, and productivity of industrialization, especially in the view of growing demand of power by the companies in Serenje.
Totaling about $300+ million. So yeah, so that's what you are asking, right? Okay, yeah. Road has to be paved road, and then we clear the land and we make it ready. So when the rain stops, then we will start constructing the panels. Yeah, so probably end of 2023 or after the rainy season 2024 or after the rainy season 2025.
And Chief Kabamba called on Ultra Green to prioritize local people for employment.
Commitment towards corporate social responsibility, job opportunities to benefit the local people except for those which our people cannot handle.
And Giagonda Solar Schools, a charity organization, has partnered with government in providing solar power to 17 schools in Siavonga district and refurbished them with low-powering consuming computers to enhance the teaching and learning of ICT. Giagonda Solar Schools proprietor Wendy Kekman says over 26 schools are targeted to benefit from the project. Details in the following report.
Various stakeholders have continued to supplement government efforts in improving the provision of quality of education in the country. In Siavonga district, Giaconda Solar Schools has accelerated its social community service by supporting rural schools lacking power supply with solar power coupled with computers to enhance ICT in schools.
We are trying to help the challenges in schools in the area, of which there are many. Deb's identified for us that there were 26 schools which had no power at all. To date, we have completed 17 schools in Siavonga, and we've also helped 3 schools in Monty district.
The organization also supports smart climate activities by encouraging communities to venture into alternative livelihoods such as beekeeping, gardening, and livestock farming as opposed to charcoal burning.
Gardening, keeping animals, goats I think fare very well here, and we're trying to think outside the box and find ideas. So wherever we go, we are looking for something. If it looks like a good idea that could be transferred somewhere else, we will try to do that.
Giaconda Solar Schools has visited Siavonga Primary to appreciate its operations for possible support. This visit has elated school head teacher Richard Mabundi.
I'm humbled because you find people coming from far away places having a heart to help a child in Zambia. How I wish our local investors as well can take a lead and show, because small in itself might be seen as small, but it's big as it provides service.
Nkwengu Shapande, ZANIS, in Siavonga District, Southern Province.
Welcome back. Over 500 pigs, valued at an estimated 2 million kwacha, have been slaughtered in Chongwe District following an outbreak of swine fever. The pigs have been killed to stop further spread of the disease. Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi who rushed to the scene in Chongwe's Chaminuka area, found officers from the veterinary department slaughtering and disposing of the affected pigs. Here is a report by Lou Majila.
These piglets, trying to lactate from a carcass of a sow, the mother pig, and another sow trying to eat up its own piglet for survival, are all severe results of the deadly African swine fever that has hit a named piggery in Chongwe District.
So we have an African swine fever outbreak in Chaminuka area. Initially, when we detected the disease, we had 596 pigs infected. So by the time, the disease has no cure and it has no vaccination. So the only way to control this disease is by slaughtering all the pigs at the affected farms.
The Lusaka Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Department, working with the Department of Veterinary Services, has moved in to stop the spread of the livestock disease to neighboring districts in the province.
We carried some samples to our Central Veterinary Lab and the results have come out positive. We are therefore carrying out stringent measures of slaughtering the animals.
We have intensified our biosecurity. As you have seen from the time you entered the farm, on the road from here, there's people who are spraying the vehicles. This is because we would want to at least remove any virus that could have stuck onto the vehicles as they are moving.
And Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi, who rushed to the scene to appreciate the magnitude of the problem, has assured farmers of government's intervention to mitigate further spread of the African swine fever.
The government is working tirelessly across Lusaka province. Our immediate action is to contain this, restrict any movements of any pigs from Chongwe district going anywhere. So we're going to slaughter everything that is here and restrict the movements. We've had to slaughter 500 plus pigs. You can only imagine the economic value that has been lost, and that of course means that people have lost money.
Lou Majila, reporting for ZANIS in Chongwe.
In business news, the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, through its World Bank-funded Zambia Agribusiness and Trade Project, has provided 47,000 United States dollars to local processing company to enhance its value addition on local wild fruits. The company has since engaged farmers from rural parts of southern and eastern provinces as wild fruit collectors to provide raw materials for the processing.
This is Forest Africa, a local company that is adding value to indigenous wild fruits, such as baobab, to produce a wide range of products like milk, oil, drinks, wine, and briquettes for the local market. The firm, which was established in 2017, is part of the over 200 productive alliances with 98,000 direct beneficiaries in agriculture value chain and cooperatives in 5 provinces of the country. The company, which received 47,000 United States dollars support from the World Bank through the Zambia Agribusiness and Trade Project, has engaged 200 households as fruit collectors to supply the raw materials for the production, thereby generating income for the vulnerable communities.
When crops are failing, how come these wild fruits are remaining resilient? It's because they're drought resistant. So we can now create a livelihood for rural communities using this available natural resource. So we saw an opportunity, and then you walk into the supermarkets. Until recently, there was 0 products made out of indigenous wild fruits. We found that odd, and we thought of filling that gap. So we integrate rural communities who are primarily harvesters of these wild fruits into some value chain. We pay them for the wild fruits that would otherwise go to waste. We bring them here for processing, and then of course we supply consumers out there with nutritious foods.
Mr. Handondo also observed that with continued effects of climate change, promotion of value addition and local products can provide alternative livelihoods for communities that depend on farming.
As you might be aware, 54% of our population live in rural communities, and they are predominantly peasant farmers. And you know what farming is, is under threat, lately. There's been so much crop failure, either due to drought, due to flooding, and what that does is that it messes up the mono economy for the rural communities. Their economic activities just comes to ground to a halt.
And the Zambia Agribusiness and Trade Project reaffirmed the organization's continued support to making positive contributions to the country's economic development.
When we started working with them, the range of products that they had was very small. Now they've gone to a number of other products that they've been able to invent and are now producing and are on the market, which is a greater plus for the project. When you look at the broader objective of the project, it's to contribute to increased market linkages and firm growth in agribusiness. In terms of market linkages, what we see is that they already have been linked to the retail stores where they are able to sell their products. And then in terms of firm growth, because their production capacity has increased, they are having more sales, their firm definitely is growing.
Most wild fruits have proved to be resilient to changes in the weather patterns, hence can be considered as alternatives for income generation, apart from other agricultural products. Michelle Lubinda for ZANIS in Chilanga.
Now, the COMESA Court of Justice is saddened by the turn of events in Sudan, which is one of the regional body's founding member states. COMESA Court of Justice Judge President Lombe Chibesakunda says the unrest in Sudan entails the need for urgent measures to be taken. Justice Chibesakunda was speaking during the 26th meeting of the COMESA Ministers of Justice and Attorneys in Lusaka today. And Justice Chibesakunda disclosed that the meeting would deliberate the issue temporarily of moving registry operations back to Lusaka. And Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Stanley Kakubo, urged COMESA states to ensure that legal instruments are domesticated. Meanwhile, COMESA Secretary General Chileshe Kapwepwe urged member states to work closely with the Legal and Corporate Affairs Division in the COMESA Secretariat for the quick implementation of domestication of instruments.
The court is emphatic and indeed saddened by the turn of events in Sudan, one of the founding member states of COMESA. Unfortunately, the situation as it stands now underscores the urgency of considering alternative measures to ensure the court's operations and delivery of justice as its mandate.
COMESA has over the years already passed numerous legal instruments and protocols, but regrettably, some of them have not been domesticated at national level by member states to allow for full implementation of commitments. For instance, the ratification of the COMESA EAC SADC tripartite free trade area agreement, which I'm reliably informed is just short of 3 instruments for ratification for it to come into force. The slow signing and ratification of legal instruments is unfortunately hampering efforts to advance the program of integration for our region, and it prevents member states from completely unlocking the benefits embedded in these legal instruments.
Challenges still remain with respect to their domestication at the member state level. May I therefore appeal to you to work closely with the Legal and Corporate Affairs Division of COMESA Secretariat to reflect on how best we can accelerate the domestication of instruments that have been adopted in the past. Soon after the conclusion of your meeting, the Legal and Corporate Affairs Division will be undertaking country visits to engage in consultations with member states to promote domestication of concluded COMESA legal instruments.
We move to Eastern Province, where residents of Chilenga Ward in Chadiza District have called on the Human Rights Commission to clearly explain the limitations of contravention children's rights, as parents and guardians were now failing to control them. The parents are dismayed that most of the children in the area were taking advantage of their illiteracy levels by using the so-called children's rights to threaten them whenever they wanted to control them. Jubel Zulu brought us this report.
Interest and awareness of human rights has grown in recent decades. In 1948, the United Nations released the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which has become the most important document of what should be considered the standard for basic equality and human dignity.
Children's rights do not mean that we are empowering children to disobey their parents. No. And we have re-emphasized this in the caucus that we held with the children, and we are making good progress. So it is a worthwhile trip that we have had, responding to the initial observations that we got whilst we were in Lusaka.
But some parents in Chilenga Ward have a concern.
Yana pakazalidwa yaka angakhala ali pa kromo patate ndi mayi salabadira chifukwa ngati tiliwayankhula akamba kuti tili na ufulu ni kupitirani kwina kulikonse komwe ine ningakadandaule pa ufulu wanga pa icho makolo tili ni mantha kuvana.
Sono zotuluka za mufulu cha vana lukwera ni mamimba pa kromo kale chifukwa nthawi ineyi yonse omwe afuna ali midanga loyenda musiku afunika kuti aende akuti ndilini ufulu nande kutoka sene.
The Human Rights Commission has a solution.
One of the major things that brought us to Chadiza specifically is this same issue that we have proved of boys being delayed and focusing on cattle herding. We still need to get into further engagement with particularly the traditional authorities, although I know that they're already doing a lot of work on the ground, trying to sensitize members of the local community on the need to take children to school.
Jubel Zulu, ZANIS, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia has welcomed government's move to provide a financing window that will enable public workers acquire agricultural loans at concessional rates. General Secretary Makai notes that the move gives public servants who are ineligible to benefit from the Farmer Input Support Program access affordable agricultural inputs. More in the following report by Wupe Sendwe.
In an effort to stimulate maize production as a solution to addressing the supply chain challenges that the country is currently facing, the government plans to establish a credit mechanism which will be extended to public service workers.
Our ultimate goal as government is to increase production so that the maize we produce can be sold and exported officially by everyone and anyone. Other stakeholders in terms of stabilizing the maize production. It includes the public service workers. We've brought all of them on board so that all of them are party to the production.
This has elated public service unions who feel the pronouncement is timely for civil servants to also benefit from government programs, thereby contributing to the country's food security.
they have pushed in money in the public sales microfinance company, which money should be accessed by civil servants to improve agriculture or to help them participate in agriculture. For us, we have received that information with both hands and with excitement. Denying them access to inputs which are subsidized by government, I think was very unfair. And it was also departing from the government policy of trying to make agriculture the main economic stay of our country, away from mining.
And when leaders are coming up with such initiatives, such policies, it is to curb dangers that may come or we may be in.
Meanwhile, National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia has made recommendations for the successful implementation of the financing mechanism.
We call upon the government with this particular policy to introduce a mandatory industrial break. A mandatory industrial break will allow the public service employees to go and do farming. It will allow them, this break, to supervise the works at their farms. It will allow them to be productive.
And we are happy that the loan arrangement will be through inputs. Giving us money, I think it will not really help us.
Among the measures that the government is putting in place to enhance agricultural productivity includes affordable financing for inputs, mechanization, and irrigation. Wopesendo for ZANIS News in Lusaka.
In Lusaka Province, residents of Lukolongo Ward in Kafiwe District have appealed to government for more relief food. The residents say the hunger situation in the area is serious, with some families only eating one meal a day. They said this during a community engagement meeting organized by the Women Life and Wellness Foundation. More in the following report.
These are residents of Lukolongo Ward in Kafiwe District. They are gathered here with the help of Women Life and Wellness Foundation, a non-governmental organization which has been interacting with the residents on some of the challenges they are faced with in the advent of climate change. Women Life and Wellness Foundation Acting Executive Director Natasha Sakala explained some of the findings from the interactions with the community.
Some of the key issues that have come up, and some of which I've mentioned, issues to do with the road network. The road network really needs a lot of work because road network is now hampering issues to do with trade. And now people, their sources of livelihood are being affected because they can't move their goods to sell to the market because of the state of the road and poor transport services in the area. That's one. There was also a serious issue, I think this cut across all three areas of water. And this water, for areas like Lukolongo, it even, and especially Kapongo, there's need for boreholes. Away from boreholes, even dams, because people are not able to do their gardening.
The residents here are appealing to the government for more relief food and also to provide them with clean and safe drinking water.
During the time of FISIP, when we are accessing some inputs, the inputs did come on time, and as a result, the farmers failed to access the inputs on time. So it was a delay. We were waiting for the inputs from the government. So by the time the input came, we found that the first rains had already rained. So by the time when the inputs came, it was too late. By the time our maize, when we planted, when it was just starting tasseling, then the rain went.
And Kafiwe District Commissioner Maurice Hikapulwe said he is aware of the hunger situation in some parts of the district.
Government cannot respond without information. So we have a DMMU officer who will come on the ground with a team of some other stakeholders in our district. I think they'll be here next week. They were going around the whole district to assess the hunger situation.
It is hoped that government will quickly address some of the challenges that the people here are faced with. Irene Nganga, ZANIS, Kafiwe.
In health news, Luapula Province has this year recorded more maternal deaths in the first 6 months compared to the same period last year. Speaking during the Luapula Chiefs Indaba on ending child marriages and maternal deaths, Luapula Province Health Director Simon Kunda disclosed that the province has had 27 maternal deaths in the first 6 months of this year compared to 16 in the same period last year. More in the following report by Kennedy Chomba.
The Ministry of Health in Luapula Province is concerned with the high number of maternal deaths which the province has continued to record. Luapula Province Health Director Dr. Simon Kunda says stakeholders such as traditional leaders are key in helping the province to address the high maternal deaths.
Just as an example, in 2022, for the first 6 months, we recorded 16 maternal deaths. Now, if we compare this year, 2023, for the first 6 months, we lost 27 women. The Royal Family says, let me end my speech by acknowledging the cordial partnership that my office has continued to enjoy, working together with all the Royal Highnesses in promoting health services across the province. This is much recognized and appreciated.
Luapula Chiefs Council Chairperson Dr. Chief Chisunka says lack of adequate ambulances in rural areas is contributing to maternal deaths, hence the need to address the problem as soon as possible.
So very important challenge that we have. Ukura kumusaidia abakivyashi abo bakushyirana n'ubwabura bwa mupaka akasebona kafite amambulansi natuyamuri rero badwishisha nakibaisha kumbura amambulansi ndabasha uko tukwaisha na kwebe.
And Luapula Province Permanent Secretary Mike Mumba, who was represented by Master District Commissioner Irene Chivweta, says ending child marriages will help to tackle the problem of maternal death.
One of the serious consequences of child marriages, especially on the part of girls, is that it exposes them to serious reproductive health problems. Since 2020, Luapula Province has recorded a total of 116 maternal deaths, out of which 40 cases were females under the age of 24. If only we can prevent these teenage pregnancies, we can also prevent maternal deaths involving our teenage girls.
Kenny Chomba, reporting for ZANIS News in Mansa District.
Unifinance has donated building materials towards Ndola Teaching Hospital Road rehabilitation works, which is currently going on. The UNIF marketing officer, Copperbelt Region, Astrida Chilombo, says the organization has come on board to donate building materials because it believes in the power of collaboration and the importance of community support. Details in the following report.
In July this year, the Ndola Teaching Hospital, together with various business partners, embarked on the rehabilitation of roads within the premises. With about 50% works done so far, more stakeholders are still coming on board to help with the construction works. Unifinance is one such a company that has donated 6 rolls of Comforts wire worth 39,000 kwacha.
Unify is proud to announce a significant donation to the teaching hospital. We are donating 6 rolls of Comforts wire which will be used to improve the road network within the hospital. Our decision to donate the Comforts wire is not just an act for corporate social responsibility. It is a reflection of our belief in the power of collaboration and the importance of community support.
Ndola District Commissioner Joseph Piri received the materials on behalf of government.
Outside there, let them emulate what you have done as a Unified. 39,000 plus is a colossal amount of money, which you should have used it somewhere. But what we decided is to bring it here so that the people that are working for you as Unified, and these are the same people that are bringing their patients here, including themselves. So it's very important that you have come here to donate this wonderful gesture today.
Ndola Teaching Hospital has been in existence for over 50 years and has never received a facelift.
We are very happy today to be able to welcome partners, more partners who've come on board to be able to contribute towards the construction of these roads. I also want to just inform the media and as well as other people that are listening that the road that we are constructing is a cement road, and we are hoping that this road will be able to outlive most of us and be able to serve the community of Ndola for many, many years to come.
Once complete, the roads in the hospital will be easily passable for the employees and clients. Nelly Bota reporting for ZANIS in Ndola.
Still in health news, Adventist Relief Agency Zambia has joined efforts with government to enhance maternal health care in rural areas through the construction of maternity annexes and mothers' shelter. The organization has supported the construction of maternity annex, mother's shelter, and 2 staff houses and Bondo Rural Health Center in Gwembe District. We now have a report.
Construction works on the extension of Bondo Rural Health Center in Gwembe District has reached completion stage. The Gwembe District Disaster Management Committee, DDMC, undertook an inspection of the extension, which is funded by the Adventist Relief Agency, ADRA Zambia, and the Grasco Foundation. The DDMC expressed gratitude on the development.
It's completed. All it is waiting for is furniture and it's ready for use. We are happy that this maternity wing was being constructed. We also have a mother's room there and another one. This project was being undertaken by an NGO called ADRA. So we are very, very, very happy that we can have such a development here.
Facility Environmental Technologist Martin Mwitwa outlines the extended infrastructure.
These constructions were done by ADRA Zambia as a partner. Having a mother shelter from this side, where we'll be hosting our mothers as they are waiting delivery. Again, we have a maternity wing that side, which has been constructed for our mothers, as well as the 2 semi-detached staff house, which is actually that side. So I think those are some of the major structures that have been constructed in Bondo.
The development has not only impressed the DDMC, but also brought happiness to the women in the area. Brian Kapuka reporting in Gwembe District, Southern Province.
Finally in the news, Lusaka Provincial Health Director Simudiama Jongo says government recognizes the support rendered by cooperating partners in capacity building, technical and academic support. Nursing and Midwifery Council of Zambia Director for Education Judith Chipili says the council has revised the Code of Ethics for nurses and midwives to make it current, relevant, and responsive to emerging trends. The two were speaking in Lusaka during a combined graduation ceremony for clinical officers, nurses, and midwives. Details in this report.
It's graduating time, a day anticipated by all students. 1,002 graduating students from 7 institutions in Lusaka braved the scorching sun as they celebrated the climax of their hard work in various disciplines at a colorful ceremony held at Lusaka's Agriculture and Commercial Showgrounds main arena. The Lusaka Provincial Health Director, who graced the graduation ceremony, expressed delight with the numbers of graduating students who will in turn meet government's planned increase in human resource within the health sector.
Seriousness to the Zambian population. As government, we are indeed delighted with these numbers because our main objective concerning human resource in the health sector is to improve availability.
Nursing and Midwifery Council of Zambia Director for Education Judith Chipili revealed that the council has revised the Code of Ethics for nurses and midwives to make it current, relevant, and responsive to emerging trends and to realign it to the provisions of the Nurses and Midwives Act No. 10 of 2019.
The council has revised the Code of Ethics for nurses and midwives to make it current and relevant and respond to the emerging trends and realign it to the provisions of the Nurses and Midwives Act No. 10 of 2019.
The Senior Medical Superintendent at the University Teaching Hospital, Dr. John Kachimba, expressed gratitude to government for its unwavering support in training health workers and creating an enabling environment for both public and private training institutions.
We are profoundly grateful to the government through the Ministry of Health for the unwavering support in training of health workers by creating an enabling environment for both public and private training institutions.
The graduation ceremony was celebrated under the theme, Nurses, Midwives and Clinical Officers, Our Health Workers, Our Future for Quality Health Care. Tabiso Sibanda, reporting for ZANIS in Lusaka.
As we end the news, a reminder of the top stories. Health Professionals Council of Zambia cancels 2023 licensure examinations. Over 500 pigs with African swine fever slaughtered in Chongwe. Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia welcome agriculture loans. And maternal deaths in Luapula worrying. That's all we had for you on the news. Pleasant viewing.